Terence Crawford's team thinks they have advantages over Errol Spence, but they're going to find out the truth. Spicy. Roll the clip.
So, like, it's all about me and my guy. You know what I mean? That's what I never bet against myself, so that I wouldn't be here today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, it's all about me and my guy, and I won't go in and talk about what advantages we have, but, you know, I think they seem to think they have so many more advantages, so I just let them have that. Enjoy that until you find out the truth.
Until you find out the truth. And so it begins. Derek James sounding full of confidence. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Come in, smash the like button. Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. A lot of people are asking my thoughts. Me, I want to see if the fight, you know, I want to hear official announcement, press conference, things of that sort. So all in all, it's a topic of conversation people are talking about. You heard Errol Spence, his own trainer, Derek James, his friend, mentor, trainer, and he says, I'll let them have that. Now, the thing I could respect and appreciate about Derek James is he's a pretty no-nonsense kind of guy. What you see is what you get. He doesn't do a lot of hooting and hollering and screaming. Like, you never really see him out of character. For example, when the Australian dude with the media, with Fox or whatever, was asking Jermell Charlo, who had just become undisputed, beating Castano by violent stoppage, you know, some guy from Australia was clearly trying to set up or bait Jermell Charlo into answering questions about Tim Tszyu. And, you know, that's kind of foul because that's his moment. He should be able to just chill and relax now. And they're talking about and trying to set up his next fight. So even in moments like that, you don't really see when the Charlos, they were lashing out and saying what they were saying. Jermall Charlo said something to the dude, etc. You never see Derek James lose his cool or anything like that. So I definitely respect that. Derek James is grounded, former fighter, you know, excellent trainer. He has my pick for trainer of the year. Now, if Errol Spence fights Terence Crawford next, which is looking like it's more and more likely, and if Errol Spence is to win that fight, there's no way Derek James can't be trainer of the year. Again, there's other great trainers like Yoel Diaz. I like the work he did with Dimitri Bivol, but that's one off. Errol Spence, if he unifies with Yordenis Ugas, that's already done. And he stopped him, turned him to a Cyclops. Optic blast. And if he goes in there and fights against Terence Crawford for undisputed, then he'll have two undisputed studs out of Texas, and he's been working with them for years. And the first one was, as I mentioned earlier in this video, Jermell Charlo. It'll be so undeniable. I know they've tried to deny Derek James in boxing for years. They always just kind of deflected and deferred to Eddie Reynoso because Canelo was in his winning ways. So this is absolutely the year that stops. Even if Errol were to fight Crawford and lose, I still think he's a shoo-in for trainer of the year, you know, because it's not defined by a loss or a win. Because if that's the case, then Eddie Reynoso, that means he got trainer of the year certain years, and I know all of his fighters didn't win their fights, you know. And his biggest star, Canelo, the one he's been working with and attracted a lot of other people to his gym, Eddie Reynoso, they lost their biggest fight with Bivol, right? And then guys like Ryan Garcia and Frankie Sanchez just left the gym. So it's, you know, pretty kaput for Eddie Reynoso to be trainer of the year for year 2022. In the last 30 days, I noticed something. 50% of the people that watch my content on YouTube for free subscribe. So thank you. The other 50% of the people who watch my content on YouTube for free did not subscribe. Let me know what Boxing Ego needs to do to earn your subscription. It takes a couple seconds and it really sends signals to YouTube. I don't have a big corporation that sponsors the channel and, you know, makes everything move. I got to make it move. So I rely on the fans to help spread the message to a broader audience. There's a lot of boxing fans that need to get the content. You can help by hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. Takes a few seconds of your time, and you don't know how far that goes to help the channel. Per usual, Derek James, he's a reserved guy. soft-spoken, cool, calm, collect. And he says, as he should, he says he don't care what Terence Crawford and his team, they seem to feel that he has these monstrous advantages over Errol Spence. And he said, I'll let them have it until they find out the truth, which is basically a play on words and double entendre, if you ask me, since Errol's nickname, Spence's nickname, is the truth, Errol the Truth Spence Jr., right? Now, I will say this, and I don't have a horse in the race. I like Crawford, like Spence. I love boxing. But I must add this. Me as a person who I am, I tend to believe a bit more of what I hear from Errol Spence's team in terms of their confidence level as opposed to Crawford's team, because I'm not a rah-rah type of person. So where I come from in the Bay, you see that. You see people that say this, or like even something as far as like, I remember back in like, early 20s when people are at a party or something and drinking. And then there'd be one guy who's kind of a loudmouth and saying he can drink anyone under the table. And it was usually that person who they couldn't hang. Like they would have little contests to see who can outdrink who. And the person who was the most boisterous about it wasn't the person that can outdrink anybody at the party. And that's the person that threw up or end up blacking out or, whatever the situation may be. So if you come from where I come from, you see these things and you learn to be more reliant on things that seem a bit more thought out, meticulous, and rational. And for me, I think just Team Crawford, members of Team Crawford, some of what Crawford said, and definitely the Bud Buddies and Crawford's fan base, it's always level 12 on a scale of 0 to 10. It's always turned up to the max, like making it sound like this is not even a formidable fight for Terence Crawford. So to me, based on what I've seen and internalizing and assessing the game, that doesn't sound realistic to me. Errol Spence destroyed Yordenis Ugas, and the claim to fame was his mouthpiece got knocked out, it got distracted, and he got hit with a couple shots. And then people said, oh, he fell into the ropes. But Errol's a learning human. So I highly doubt something. I wouldn't bank on something like that. That's like, we've never seen that in all these Errol Spence fights that happened. He ate it and then he got better after that moment. So that's, to me, people glorify and embellish and amplify moments like that, or like Devin Haney getting rocked for 10 seconds versus Jorge Linares. I don't really glorify those moments because what happened next? What did they do next? Ugas got worse and got beat up worse after the mouthpiece was spit out and he got them punches off. So I don't really factor that into the equation. Plus, it would be negligent of me, and I would be remiss to believe that Errol Spence is going to go through that, make a mistake, which he admitted post-fight. He said, rookie mistake on my behalf. So if something like that were to happen again, I highly, highly doubt that it would be the same reaction. He's going to make sure the ref gets a solid break. That's the beauty of human nature and making mistakes. Hopefully, more often than not, when you go through those mistakes, you deal with whatever consequence. And if you get past them, then you learn from them and you don't make the same mistakes. So that's not much of a good game plan. And then what I heard from Team Crawford, Bomac took to Twitter after the Ugas performance, where really the only moment for Ugas was that mouthpiece thing. And he said, oh, Terence is going to beat the ish out of him. Like nothing constructive, nothing as far as a breakdown or like, oh, we're going to beat him to the jab, beat him to the punch, or Crawford's way fast. It was like, so I can't really take fight commentary like that seriously if you just say, screaming and yelling and saying somebody's going to get the ish kicked out of them and beat up. That's not anything for me to internalize or break down. It's just in your face vulgarity and expletives. Like you just saying, oh, he's going to destroy him and beat him up. And more often than not, I feel like that's the energy that I see from Team Crawford and the fans. It's just like as if Errol Spence is a journeyman and things like that. Listen, I respect Crawford. I respect Errol Spence. I think it's a banger of a fight. Either guy can win. It just depends on what they do in there. See how my commentary is completely different. I never say Errol Spence is just going to have easy work and assassinate, and murder and kill and all this other like souped up stuff that people say. Let me know what you guys think of Derek James. He says Crawford will find out the truth. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Hopefully we get the fight. And I'm out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.